Tempo is a brand new investing app available in New Zealand, and we are very excited to be telling you about how it works and how you can use it. But just firstly, to let you know, in 2023, they conducted a survey with 1,000 Kiwis, and they found that 27% of people who they spoke to didn't know where to start when it came to investing. We're probably guessing quite a few of those people are maybe listening to this podcast, so keep listening.
So the great thing about Tempo is that their goal is to take the guesswork out of investing. When you sign up, they ask you some pretty simple questions, including how you feel about the idea of your investments going up and down, because some do more than others. You tell them how much you want to save, and then they recommend a mix of their funds for you. It's called guided investing. You're getting investment advice from the experts. How cool is that?
Yes, it's so cool. And also because they track your goal progress, they're also able to recommend changes to your investment mix over time, which is so great. If you're a member of our investing club, we've got an amazing offer. So if you join Tempo, you'll get $10 kickstart into your account. If you would like to learn more about how you can get that, anything you need to know about the investing club or Tempo, you can find that in the link of our podcast show notes.
Let's make your investing journey as exciting as it should be.
And just a quick little testimonial from someone in our community who is using Tempo at the moment. Wow, I just joined Tempo thanks to the recommendation from The Curve, and I'm loving the layout. The breakdowns are exactly how I want my investments to be laid out for me. Isn't that cute?
Some fine print for our lovely listeners. This offer is only for New Zealand residents, and terms and conditions apply. So investing with Tempo means you'll invest in Forsyth Bar funds and receive financial advice from Tempo. For more information, including the required disclosures for Tempo, head to the link in the show notes of this podcast.
How are you feeling, Soph?
Are you asking me this because I bored my eyes out in our most recent podcast episode?
Yeah, we had a bit of a Kim Kardashian crying
did,
moment.
didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to know the Botox is working. No. How are you?
It's quite funny because I remember the episode that you cried in, the financial burnout.
I had so many friends message me. It was actually, well, no, I'm going to cry. It was actually really about to get my period. So just, yeah, it was really special.
You're going to cry. Jeez, what's wrong with us?
We need to get in sync with our cycles. Otherwise there's always going to be someone crying on the podcast. No, but it was really like, everyone's like, oh my God, why didn't you reach out to me? Oh my God, why? You know, like it was.
In fact, if you haven't listened to that episode, what one was it? Let me just get it up, because that actually was such an important listen. And just how like overwhelming finances can get, and how you can try and avoid getting to the point where you're like at breaking point with it. 137 signs that you're facing financial burnout and how to fix it. If you haven't listened, we've put out a third episode last week. We normally do two. We do the Curve Weekly on a Monday or Tuesday, and then our Raising the Curve like interview style episodes. And we're doing a 3-part like mini series with Trade Me around my property journey. And let's just say I didn't realize how
there was a little bit of a bump in the road.
It was a real bump in the road. And
it was supposed to be quite an inspirational mini-series, but it became a real, very real journey.
Oh, gosh. I mean, yeah. And do you know what the weirdest thing was? We were recording, and I think we've got to the point with podcasting where we're kind of able to push through. Like if someone says something stupid or someone mucks something up, like we don't really stop anymore. Like we kind of just always keep going. That was the first time I think in like, I don't know, what feels like over a year where I was like, I actually can't talk.
I actually need a minute. Yeah.
I need to like put my microphone down and like just have an actual cry. It was so intense.
And then I was sitting there going, was this like part of it?
Yeah, do you want me to have my microphone?
Like, are we recording? Are we not?
Bless Emily, our producer's heart. She was like, she sent me a message afterwards being like, I feel like I'm exploiting you for good content. And she was like, I've put a trailer together. You may be crying at the start of it, and the highlights are all quite emotional. I was like, oh God, at this point,
highlights
I'm
and the lowlights. Yeah.
Exploit me for content,
But it was also like we normally do funny podcasts, I like to think.
Do you reckon you're pretty funny?
Whereas this one was quite more poignant.
Well, it's basically I've been wanting to buy a house for ages, and anyway. In fact, maybe just listen to the episode.
Yeah.
It's called, oh God, what has she called it? I'm like, do I want to know? Sophie has a meltdown episode.
Yeah.
What is it? Why buying a home feels impossible. Good title.
Great title.
Yeah.
Was that Emily?
Yep.
Nice.
What are we talking about in the Curve Weekly? What's happening in the news?
Well, you know what we're not talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
For once,
Yeah.
he is not being talked about.
Is that because there's nothing happening, or we've just decided he can absolutely F off for like a whole week of content?
Bit of both.
Yeah, nice. Love it. So here for that.
Well, I just didn't want to sound like a broken record, talking about the same things.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
And also there's heaps of other stuff going on. It's not that we're going to ignore it. We're not putting our heads in the sand here. We're just giving it a breather. Because let's be honest, it's probably going to be honestly 4 years of this.
I've also been asked in the street what my view is on Trump.
Have you?
And I'm just, went into a shop the other day. They're like, oh, love the podcast. What's your view on Trump? I was like,
listen to the last 17 podcasts.
also just like caught me really off guard. I don't know. I just
to talk about Trump and when you're shopping.
Yeah. Well, I was just not in the zone. I was kind of racking my brain of like notes and things that I'd previously said. I got a bit flustered.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
But that must be like a politician, not saying I'm a politician, but
if someone just sort of
approaches you in the street and asks you, what's your view on the economy? Or why are you increasing taxes? Like it would be quite like.
I mean, I have to be fair, I feel like they probably are pretty on top of their policies. They'd be able to talk about them at the drop of a hat. But you're always researching lots of different things.
Yeah.
And also I would say classic that we're actually still talking about Trump 5 minutes later. But I'd say probably your overarching zoomed out opinion is just like, it's just going to be an up and down 4 years in the stock market. As the stock market just trails along behind this quite unpredictable person, the stock market's just going to be unpredictable.
And there'll be headlines of things that he does and the market will react. But the best thing you can do is not react.
I mean, unless Elon Musk goes and owns AI, Jesus, at that point I'm like, what? Why are you smiling?
You just stole the next topic.
Oh, what a stunning segue.
But yes, Elon Musk.
He's not, is he though?
He's made a bid for OpenAI, which owns ChatGPT.
How much was he trying to bid?
98 billion.
Oh, get off it. Like at this point, their billions are just our dollars, right?
I know, just like flashing money around.
98 billion. Like, are you absolutely having a laugh?
I know.
Some of these people just have far too much money.
And Sam Altman, who is the
why does that name sound familiar?
Founder of OpenAI.
Oh, yes.
He was like, no, thank you, but we'll buy Twitter if you want.
Oh, really?
I know, quite
God,
funny.
Sometimes this stuff is like, it feels like we're
Imagine being a billionaire and being like, I'll buy you. No, I'll buy you.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. Sam Altman was like, almost like, piss off, I'll buy Twitter if you want. So they're having a bit of a big
Do you reckon that
contest.
he'll go home at night, like, I don't know, his partner will be like, hilarious. What an idiot. Like Elon Musk tries, I'm going to do this. Do you think it's just this big game to them where they actually find it quite funny to just throw their weight around? Because there's so many like little like FU moments that are public. It's like celebrities, right?
Yeah.
But in like with related to money.
Yeah, it is a bit celebrity-like, isn't it? But he was like, I'll buy Twitter for 9.7 billion.
You're basically trying to be like, your Twitter or like X,
it sucks. And you want to buy my company for 98 billion? I'll buy yours for 9.7.
Oh my God.
And Musk bought Twitter, which is now X, back in 2022 for 44 billion. Ooh. So he was like, bit of a jab in there.
That's gotta hurt. So he's like offering less than a quarter.
But OpenAI was actually founded in 2015, funded by Musk.
Elon Musk. Why are we calling him Musk? Is that like professional? Can we just call him?
Sorry, Elon.
I don't want him that much respect.
No, yeah.
But sorry, so he founded it.
Yeah, he founded it in 2015.
With who? I thought it was meant to be like a charity thing.
It was set up and then now it's become like it's converted from a not-profit to a business. But he set it up because he wanted it to be almost a competitor to Google in the sense of its AI research and stuff. So quite interesting that he also in 2018 wanted to fold OpenAI into Tesla. Imagine putting Tesla and OpenAI together, like, yeah, that would be crazy.
Hold on, so sorry. So who did he found it with? Because I feel like
Sam.
So they were co-founders and obviously massively fell out.
Yeah. So Elon Musk and Sam Altman actually founded it together in 2015 and then were fighting over who should lead the business. And then Musk stepped away in 2018.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah. And then now he's come back being like, I'll buy it. Imagine that would be like us being like, who's going to run the curve, falling out over it, and then and like
publicly throwing our weight around, being like, well, I'll buy it for $2.
Yeah. And it's like, no, if I'd buy your business. Like,
whoa.
Who cares? Well, actually.
Oh my God. Also, wouldn't you think that Sam Altman is having like a bit of a, oh my God, get over yourself. Like you left when it was kind of nothing and I've built it up to be what it is today. So jog on. Like,
yeah. And
it's quite
Microsoft
juicy.
was OpenAI's first biggest investor and it still invests in OpenAI. So,
but why is Microsoft is it a competitor of something?
No, but it's just like it's in there as well. So we tend to think of OpenAI as kind of its own company, but you have got other investors in there.
Yeah.
But imagine OpenAI, Tesla, in bed with Trump, US government. Like I'm just, it kind of scares me. I like that Microsoft's in there.
Yeah, yeah. You've got like the stable bald father that's in there.
It's like, kids, stop.
Everyone stop fighting.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about this around the dinner table.
Yes.
Microsoft feels like, it really does feel like you've got a sane, stable father in there, don't you reckon?
That's like just like pulling the two kids away from each other kind of thing.
Like the aggressive teenagers just need to sort their shit out. How weird.
Where is Elon getting this money? You know?
Well,
like,
what's his worth? What's
Twitter has been, but that's in stock. Do you know what I mean? Like he'd have to sell his billions of his Tesla stock.
He has 378 billion. And how much did he bid for it? Like a third of his wealth, basically.
Yeah. You could always go to the banks and get a loan when you're worth that much. But also,
or probably friends. He might have some like, you know,
Donald Trump,
rich like of people where he's like, you know, I want to chuck a couple of billion in.
I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Imagine.
Wow. I mean, I was talking this morning with a friend about, she used to work in Australian media, and we were talking about there's a massive public deal that the show I used to work on, they basically are being paid each $1 million a month for 10 years. That's their deal that they've had signed.
$1 million a month.
$1 million a month each that they have just coming into their bank account. And I'm like,
are you sure a month?
No, it's public. They did a $100 million deal across 10 years, and that split, is $12 million a year.
That could have been you, babe.
No, they're the hosts.
I know.
But like, can you imagine just having $1 million in your account every month? Like, what the fuck would you do with it? Even if it came into my account once, I would probably be like, okay, we'll call it a day then, everyone.
Don't worry about the other 12 months.
Don't worry about it. I'm actually sorted.
It would be like, I was speaking to a friend this morning about, she's got her own business and it's been such a grind for so many years, and now it's got to a place where she wants to sell it and she'll get a lot for it. And she was just like, it's so weird going from working your ass off, you know, having very little money to, she's like, all of a sudden I'm going to have so much wealth. And it's like, it does concern me that people, not necessarily her, but like there's people like that, or that might sign a big contract like that in radio or in media and just get so excited and do something wrong with it.
I guess in terms of them, they've been paid that much for a long time, so it's not like new.
But
to
even
them.
like athletes, for example, when you go from like not having much to having heaps, you really need to have a financial plan.
Your friend who you were talking to, does she know what she wants to do with it? Like, has she got a? Is that why she was like, talking to you about it?
Not really. It was just like a kind of a passing comment. But yeah, she was just more like, it's going to be such a mind boggle to go from that to like, yeah.
Do you not think that if you had that much value in a business that you knew you could sell,
you'd be prepared for that?
You'd almost in your head have the mindset of like, I have money, even if you don't.
Yeah, but I think it's more like the lifestyle change as well. You know, you'd be able to afford maybe a bigger house, maybe a new car, maybe, you know, go to nicer restaurants. Like there'd be definitely a step up, and maybe some people would just invest it straight into another business. I don't know, but it's just like making sure that you don't go and spend it all because you have built that wealth up over so many years.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a really intangible wealth, isn't it? Like, and the thing about business is like, you know, she doesn't also have that until someone buys it. There's just so many factors that play into, but you know, I mean, hopefully she can successfully exit because that's amazing.
Speaking of side hustles though, you know, the DeepSeek founder, which was that competitor that came out of nowhere in terms of a competitor for NVIDIA, he only started that 2 years ago.
What?
And there's estimations that it's worth like $150 billion, and he is now worth about $30 billion. So he's one of Asia's wealthiest tech people.
And he did it in 2 years?
In 2 years.
God, that makes me feel like I'm really lacking brain cells.
I know, when I think about we've been doing the curve for like four.
In 2 years, gosh. There's
Like
just
that's-
so
yeah.
much money in tech, isn't
I
there?
know.
Like
It's because it's scalable.
Yeah.
You know, Other news, Goldman Sachs. Now, if you haven't signed up for our Curve Weekly,
Do you know what, Vic? I wanted to give you some credit here. I thought your Curve Weekly newsletter this week was so amazing. Like, really, I read it and I thought...
I didn't know if you were just saying that because I had a pretty stressful week and you're like, good job,
No,
babe.
I
Yeah,
could really
okay.
tell. You put so much time into the research piece, but like particularly this week, I was just like, the way that it read, I thought you could write a book. That was
wow.
No, seriously, I was speaking at an event earlier this week and one of the questions was something to do with why do we think finance and business is such a masculine or like male dominated space? And my answer to it was, I honestly think that for so long, because obviously we're just, we're at a tipping point now where there's so many women that have careers that are in the workforce, but because for such a long time, those spaces have been so masculine, the way that business and the economy is spoken about is boring and masculine but just might not resonate with people. I said at this event, you will not find me looking at Wall Street Journal or any of the news outlets because I read it and I'm just like, oh, I'm falling asleep.
Well,
and
we had that girl at the other event and she was like, what are some good news publications? And I honestly get stumped at this question because I'm like, well, I don't want to send you there because it'll just be so confusing. Don't want to send you there because you have to pay for it. And, for someone who's not reading it every single day, that's a cost they probably can't afford. But
it made me realize, and I actually said, I was like, if it honestly it wasn't for Vic and me all of a sudden now feeling like news and business updates actually entertain me and interest me because of the way they're spoken about in this conversation on the podcast and in the newsletter, I would have no interest in staying informed.
Yeah.
And I really think that, and this is, I'm honestly not trying to blow smoke up your bum. I genuinely think that.
No, blow it.
Yeah, I think the Curve Weekly and the Curve Weekly newsletter is game changer. It will change how so many people feel like they want to stay involved in what's happening in that type of news, which in turn makes us see opportunities for making money, understand businesses and why they work. And so many of the women at the event came up to me afterwards and said the same thing. They were like, I love Vic's Curve Weekly newsletter. So I just thought, if you're listening to this and maybe you have friends that you think don't get the newsletter or the podcast, can you forward it to them? Because I think the more women that we have informed on this kind of thing, the better. It's just that from the outside, people think it's not for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, point is, I thought it was so good.
Thanks.
Like
babe.
one of your best.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Wow. There was one bit in there that I spoke about, and it was about this whole, we spoke about this last week as well on the podcast, but it's just gaining more and more traction, is this whole step away from diversity that companies are doing right now.
Yeah.
And it's on the back of Trump and on the back of him, removing policies that you have to have X amount of diversity in companies and in governments. And so anyway, it's filtering down and we're starting to see, every week there's another few big companies that are like, we're stepping away from our diversity policies, which is really, really sad and unfortunate. But one of the ones this week was Goldman Sachs. So this is one of the world's biggest financial institutions. Like they hire tens of thousands of people all around the world. And it's always been known as like a boys' club. Like I remember when I was fresh out of uni and I had an interview at Goldman Sachs and I was like, oh my goodness, like this is me going straight to the top, like it was, everyone wanted to work there.
Did you get the job?
I did, but they wanted me to start and I was traveling for 3 months and they wanted me to start then. And I remember my mum being like, screw the travel, like it's Goldman Sachs. And I was like, but I've booked and we're going to South America. And
was this the one that you had to call your sister or your parents and get them to transfer money?
When I was in South America, yeah, because I wanted to go hand gliding. Real important. I was like, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
None of it is.
I know.
It's
but
so
also,
funny that you're calling from over there being like, I need money. And they're like, well, you should have gone to Goldman Sachs.
I know. But also when you're a girl in South America calling your parents, like thankfully I could actually call my parents and they were in a position to lend me money. But if they'd said no and I'm stuck in South America with no money, like of all places, they're probably scared that I'd be smuggling something to.
I'll just do a Bridget Jones moment and take a snail thing from some random man. And
oh my God, that's right.
That would so happen to
Bridget
me.
Jones 4 is out.
I
know.
Can't wait.
I know, same.
Can't wait. Love her.
I said to Flower Man, I was like, should we go watch that on Valentine's.
Cute.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah. He's
I'll
like,
go
be
with
ready
you.
at 5:30 and picking you up. Pack this.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's a good Valentine's.
And then I
yes.
found the receipt for something in the car. And I was like, flowers.
Oh,
But it was like, yeah.
on
Quite
brand.
funny. Yeah.
What did you buy him? A cricket bat?
No, he really wanted one of those things that hooks onto your bed. It holds your phone and your
Oh,
Kindle.
you're fucking kidding.
So he can lie in bed without having to hold
That
and
is
watch
the
something or read
most.
something.
You didn't get that for
I
Valentine's
know, and his
Day.
face was, he was pretty like, you got me this for Valentine's.
Victoria, that's such a dad move. Like, well, you said you wanted it and you needed it.
It's like, you said you wanted it. We were flicking through like Instagram and an ad popped up. And he's like, how cool. I was like,
It's not the time.
I know.
You've not been married for 45 years.
it's not the most sexy.
You couldn't have got a
In
less sexy
hindsight,
gift
I'm like,
for Valentine's
oh,
Day. You must surely today you
God.
need to get something else and be like, that was a joke.
Anyway, what are we talking about? Goldman Sachs 5 years ago said that they would not support any IPOs. So that's when a company becomes public for the first time that had boards that were full of all white men. So that was quite big for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone was like, oh my God, this is like seismic change in the industry, like amazing. And this week they reversed that and said that it's been unfair to white men.
Unfair.
Mm.
Oh,
I know.
poor darling.
Poor white men that have had it so good for so long.
Or do
It's
they
been a
need
few years. They haven't, I know, yeah.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It's unfair. Why?
But this whole move is coming from an activist group that's anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion. And their
All balding.
oh yeah, probably. Yeah. Their push or their motivation is that boards, for example, are putting people on the board.
For tokenism.
Yeah, not because of their skills. So they're like, this is why we should remove these targets or policies or anything because you're putting companies at risk. And so I'm like, sometimes you have to put lines in the sand to create movement. Otherwise,
You're going to see, are you just getting the same result?
totally. Like, yes, you might have to go through a period of tokenism, but then it'll be a point, you know, women, people of other minority groups will see that reflected at a board level and aspire to be that.
And then you'll get more talented
and
people
then you get
coming
more talent.
through.
It just
It's
takes a while. You're not gonna,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen in 5 years. You know, it'll happen like maybe 10, 20 years, but you have to.
It's
anyway.
also just more effort to go outside of your echo chamber to find the
100%.
right hire or
Yeah.
the right person.
Yeah.
It's not that they don't exist at that. It's that you have to try a bit harder. And I think
Yeah.
that's what the problem is really is that, yeah, I mean, I was actually speaking to a friend and she was saying that the company she was working at made some comment about how women feel a bit like stressed or panicked around the idea of having kids because, you know, their job's at risk and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, you know how to change that, right? Like that's a systemic problem within your culture. Like,
Yeah.
and apparently they were like, oh, maybe we need to get a creche or something at work. And I was like, that's a great idea. I wonder who could make that happen. But it's
So-
true. It's like, you know, if you realize something, but you have the chance to change, I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, I definitely see companies that have tokenism of like one female on their board. And I'm almost like, that's just, why even bother? Do you know? But at least it's a step in the right direction because we wouldn't have seen that, you know, 20 years ago. Also, a bit closer to home, this will be good for you, Soph. Actually, you'll be stoked.
Or what?
I think
Or you think what?
my prediction,
Oh, love them.
New Zealand property is about to be very strong.
Really?
Yep.
What makes you think that?
The reason assets go up in value or increase in price is because there's more demand than supply. You know, that's kind of natural economics 101.
So a very, very simple example of that is there's lots of kids that want to buy lollies at the dairy and they're all buying the dollar mix.
And
so,
there's only $5 mixes, but there's 20 kids.
so they make them more expensive because
Yeah.
there's you'll weed out the people who will pay for it. And,
Yeah. You'll weed out the ones that pay $1 and then only the ones that have $2 can afford it.
Yeah.
Yep. Pure capitalism.
I went into a dairy the other day and
The rich kids get fat.
the dollar mix had like 4 lollies in it. I was like,
I remember you used to get,
that's
we used to get
outrageous.
bags of lollies for $1.
Thank God you can't. I
Yeah.
mean, it's good for the kids, you know, sugar
And
intake.
I remember going, I used to love this. You'd ask for $1 mix and you'd stand and you'd be like, one of those. Oh, actually, no, put that one back. Put that, and the guy behind the till is, you can just see, he's like, you're the 10th kid that's come in and done this, you know, for freaking dollar.
But should we also talk about the lollies at the movies? You know those giant
yeah.
things that used to shut, like as like a shovel you would put in and pull out the sharks, and then you'd pull out this, and you would actually go in with like what felt like potentially 4 kgs of sugar. Like it was just, it was pretty disgusting.
You'd weigh it at the end.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh gosh, that's like $40.
You just sit there for
I'll
the
take it
entire
back.
film just shoveling lollies in.
I used to get so excited by sweet food. I'd vomit. I'd just eat way too much.
Your ice cream story?
Oh, yeah. And even I'd go to birthday parties when I was little and mum would have to pick me up because I vomited everywhere because I just got – honestly, she was like, not again. And I wasn't allowed to do like birthdays and sleepovers because I'd vomit.
You're kidding.
I get so excited.
I love when this sort of
everything.
shit comes out about you where I'm just like, I love that I still am finding things out.
But just like
That is so funny.
How do you not have a concept of you're full?
Oh, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
But yeah, there's
I did this
fairy
at-
bread, there's Cheerios,
And you
there's
just would go
chips.
for it.
And I just, yeah. Poor mum. Sorry about my child. She doesn't
Now,
get fed at home.
Victoria has vomited again. If you could come and pick her up.
Anyway, so property. So we've got in New Zealand one of the most prohibitive policies pretty much in the world of foreigners buying property in New Zealand.
What does that mean?
So you have to be a New Zealand citizen to buy property. So if you're American, tough luck. And you have to be a tax resident. So I think Australians and Singaporeans have exemptions to buy houses here. But aside from that,
Why Singapore? It's so random.
aside from that, you have to be a citizen or a tax resident in New Zealand.
Okay.
So coming back to the supply demand before the whole lolly derail conversation, that means there's less demand. Say supply is growing steadily year over year as we build more houses, but the demand, there's less people overseas that can buy houses. This is now being...
Is it changing?
Yeah, so this is now changing. And I don't know who we spoke to, but do you remember they said just how many people that they have been speaking to in America that want to get out of there now with Trump in power?
Who was that? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll
one
take
of our
that up.
investors.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually someone on the podcast. It was one of our investors.
That's right. Yeah. And she was just like, honestly, the number of people I've spoken to that want to buy property in New Zealand and get out and, you know, just have a bit of an escape. So this is really, really good news and hopefully just lead to house prices increasing and increasing. Yes, it'll be at the top end because they'll be very wealthy.
That's what I was about to say. Like,
but everyone, you know, it's still, you know, those houses, maybe let's say a $10 million house that had no buyer before would have dropped it down maybe to like 7 or 8, and then you target like a people within that bracket, whereas now all those people, there's a new influx of people. So it does, yes, it will be at the top end, but it still helps in terms of demand.
does it? Or is it
Yeah.
just the expensive houses?
Because like, let's say you wanted to buy a house and there's wealthy people bidding for it and you can't afford, then the price just goes up and up and up. And then everyone feels more wealthy. More people will start selling their houses because I'll be sitting here going, oh, actually, house prices are going up and up and up. I'm going to jump in and sell mine. And then it's a wealth effect. And also just putting money into the economy as well, it also helps. For them
it's
buying.
probably a good thing 'cause everyone's so stressed about the New Zealand economy, right? Like, and
Yeah.
everyone also is like often like, the New Zealand property market, it's not going to go up like this forever. But it's like, well, hopefully it does go up again like that because the economy needs it, right?
Yeah. Property prices in New Zealand have increased by 60% over the last 10 years.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, and
Shit.
actually the biggest increase has been outside of main city centres. So outside of kind of Auckland, Wellington,
Really?
Christchurch. Yeah. So in the regions.
Because when I was talking to my dad, you know, about me wanting to buy a property, he was like, why are you not looking in Auckland? I was like, why
Where
would
are you
I?
looking?
I can't afford to buy in
Yeah.
Auckland. But also because I'm not in a position where I need to live in the house because I'm buying an investment
Yeah.
property. So I have the option of buying outside of the main centres, you know?
I'll show Mike the stat.
Yeah.
Yeah. New Zealand has also simplified its golden visa program. So there's less requirements that you need to get one, which also helps bring people into the country.
But sorry, what is the golden visa?
So it's,
Is it for skilled migrants?
yeah. And it means, you know, if you come in here, you invest a certain amount of money into New Zealand and you get a pathway to citizenship effectively. Yeah.
Right.
It all helps in terms of more people in the country, more people being able to access and buy property here. So on the one side, it kind of not scares me, but it concerns me that we're having to pull these levers because the economy's shit or doing shit. So, but then it's also good that we've got these levers to pull and hopefully it'll benefit in the long run.
Is it
Having people investing money in New Zealand through property or businesses or, yeah.
Is it wildly creative, the things that they've done, or have you like heard of these things before?
No, so Greece and Portugal have done the golden visa and it's done really, really well. So Portugal's now become this like tech hub for a lot of
it
young
has actually.
tech entrepreneurs.
So there's that web conference that happens every year that's
they've
like
got like
world
tax
class.
breaks and stuff as well for innovation and entrepreneurship in
That's
Portugal.
one thing I think New Zealand really needs.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but
That's
good news.
quite cool.
Yeah.
So maybe there'll be people who see the golden visa and think, oh, like there's opportunity there. They bring their money, they bring their expertise, and that bolsters up the whole economy.
And previously, there was a whole lot of requirements for the golden visa, which have now been removed. So this just opens up the threshold for more people that might have only considered, Canada and Singapore. And now they're like, oh, we can actually move to New Zealand as well. And even for global businesses here wanting to attract talent as well. Super, super helpful.
That's so cool.
This one's a bit close to home. LOL. So Soho House has been an absolute terrible investment.
So it's a public company.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it was
I know.
public. For anyone that doesn't know, Soho House is like probably the most commonly well-known, somewhat elite club, right?
Yeah.
That you get a membership to. And
It was one of the kind of
all around the
original like OG members clubs. It started in London and Soho. That's why it's called Soho House.
I like that.
And then it kind of expanded into New York and now it's got a ton of different locations all around the world.
Yeah, like all over Europe,
Yeah.
like North America, like everywhere. And they're essentially restaurants and you can stay there and there's a gym and you can bring a certain amount of friends in. Yes, I have an membership, so does Vic. And I must say I'm starting to think I need to cancel mine.
I emailed to put it on hold while we were in New Zealand and they were like, it's £150 to put it on hold. Bear in mind, this is about £230 a month and you can only do it once in your life. And I was like, oh, I might as well just cancel. But then it's like they've closed accepting new applicants in America and the UK. So if I cancelled, just until further notice, because they've just had so many inbound. I'm like, is that a marketing ploy?
Probably, but it works because now
Totally.
I'm like,
I haven't
oh, well,
cancelled.
shit, I don't want to cancel
Yeah.
it. But how are they doing so badly if there's that much demand for memberships?
Well, if you think about the concept, it's like it's a private members club and now it's a public company. So like everything is visible. It's financials. It's like everything like that. And I remember we were in there one day and I saw
holes in the cushions?
all that. But when you change the incentive from, I guess being customer driven to being shareholder driven, the couches, they don't need upgrading because that's a cost, that's a profit, that will eat into the profit. But then the flow-on effect of that, of people coming and being like, oh, gross couches and not resubscribing, but then they're kind of stuck there like us because they don't want to cancel. So it's like this whole, I don't know, it's quite interesting, but people are saying that the growth has come at the expense of the club's exclusivity. So, it's trying to scale because it's now a public business and it needs growth because it needs, that's what investors are demanding. But at the same time, you want that kind of intimate, private locations and houses. So it's quite interesting how this has played out. And since it IPO'd in 2021.
So it's actually not been a public company for very
not that
long.
No, at around $12 and it's now about $8. But
That's
only
not too bad,
Only
is
recently
it?
though. So 2 months ago, it was $4. And this is why I'm talking about it is recently there was a takeover offer for it. So there was a bid for the company
Ooh.
and
Who was trying to buy it?
it just says an unknown consortium of people. So this could probably be like,
What? So suspicious.
but it could be like individuals plus bank debt or like, it's kind of like people that have been cobbled together to buy it. So it's not like a competitor or someone well known. They obviously want to be a bit private.
they try to fly under the radar.
But anyway, there is one majority owner called Ron who's in there and he's like, yep, let's sell. Like this is a
whoa.
great deal. And there's another investor in there going, no, I want to hold out for a better deal. So there's this kind of issue going on with, one of the largest shareholders is trying to convince all the other little investors to accept the deal. And the other majority investor is like, no, let's wait for a better deal. So it's kind of this big disagreement with these two billionaire investors.
What do you think will happen?
I don't know, but the share prices jump because there's a takeover offer and that always kind of happens because they need to, a company that's going to buy another public company needs to incentivize the current investors by, offering them a price that's well above the current share price.
So like you own something, you're not just going to sell it for what you bought it for. It's like, well, make me want to sell it. Give me
Totally.
more
Otherwise,
money.
I could just sell it on the stock market right now to
So
someone
is
else.
the stock price going up because people are anticipating, because they're going to have to then, if a takeover offer does come through, the amount they have to pay on top of the current share price, it's always more. So like people are
so the share price
anticipating
went
a
from like
buyout.
$4.80 to $7.60. So that's like well over 50% increase.
But that's also still really low compared to.
Yeah, exactly. So there might be investors going, oh, you know what? It's never going to get back up to $12. Like when I bought it at IPO, I'm just going to take this and kind of cut my losses. And there'll be others, which is the other majority shareholder going, no. The company is so still undervalued at
Whatever it is.
at the price now. Let's wait for a better offer. The risk is there is no better offer. And because he's a majority investor, if he doesn't sell into the current offer, that falls away too. So,
I don't get it.
So like you've got, let's say, ease of argument, you've got one shareholder is 40% shareholding, one's 40% and the others, the other 20% is lots of little. You've got Ron here who's like, yep, let's accept the offer. I'm going to sell my 40% to this new consortium. And then you've got Dan, who is the other 40%. He's like, no, I don't want to sell. And it's like, well, come on, I can't sell unless you're on board because I can't sell the whole company. I can only sell my 40%. So come on, Dan, like this is a really good offer. And Dan's going, no, Ron, like don't sell yours. And then nothing goes through. There is no deal because the consortium doesn't want to buy 40% of the company. They want to buy the whole company. Do you know? It would be like an offer for the curve and you and me disagreeing, but I need you on board to sell the business and you need me on board to sell the business.
But you just said before, I mean, I understand that part, but you said, but the real problem is if there's no other deal. And then, so what was that second part?
So sorry. Dan is like, no, we can get a better deal. We can get another offer or we can get a higher price. But he doesn't necessarily know that. He's just looking at probably the share price and the value of the business and going, it's still so undervalued at this price. Let's wait for more. It's like kind of like we've been offered $1 billion, but I think we could get 1.1 billion. It's like, come on, don't be greedy for that extra amount because this offer might go away. So you're kind of holding out for a little bit more of an offer, but it's like sometimes you just have to take what you've got. Otherwise that could go away.
They're also billionaires. So I'm kind of like, why are you so stressed about it?
I know, but Dan's probably got a strategy to either turn it around more because he's like an activist investor. So that means like they get in there, he's
actually doing work in there.
They like remove management or they sell parts of the business and they get in there and they try to realize values. So he's probably got a lot more a plan to play out.
Well, it sounds like he's the one that's like got the plan. The other guy's kind of probably a little bit uninterested, just with a huge amount of wealth in there and wants to get it out.
And when your share price is going like this, sometimes you just take, when your share price is going down, sometimes you're like, oh.
Well, it would be hard if you're the one with the strategy and the share price is going down.
Believe me, I can turn it around. Yeah. And lastly, so the world's second biggest economy, China.
Who's the third? US, China, and then who?
Japan, India.
Oh, fun game. Canada?
No. I just said it.
India.
Japan.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Isn't it quite a small country?
Yeah, but it's got like Samsung, Toyota, like you've got a lot of.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't realize that Japan was so strong.
Yeah. It punches above its weight.
It's small but mighty.
Small but mighty. It's the same size as New Zealand.
I do have a soft spot for Japan.
Same.
I'd love to go.
Same.
You are going.
I know. I'm so excited. But yes, in the second biggest economy, so China, marriages have plunged to their lowest level on record last year.
Is this new marriages every year?
Yeah.
Or not the amount of people married?
Marriages.
Yeah, but like, is it the total number or is it the new ones every year?
Oh, I see. The number of marriage registrations. So new people getting married. Yeah. I thought you meant like second marriages. And I was like, I don't know.
No,
God,
total.
Yeah.
Is it divorces or is it just not new relationships?
It's the number of marriage registrations. So that would be second marriages and first. But new marriages. Yeah. So since public records began in 1986, so it's back down to to that level in 1986, which
But
is
hold on, 1986 would have had heaps, right? Wasn't getting married at that time just the only thing to do?
yeah, but we've had population growth since then, and now you've kind of gone and back to square one.
I'd be so interested if that's a global trend or if that's just in China.
I would say it's a global trend.
Same.
Because population growth around most developed countries is falling. Yeah, or not rising as much as it has previously had. It's quite interesting to talk about marriages. We're recording this on Valentine's Day.
Oh my God, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, when this comes out, it's not Valentine's Day, but still.
Yeah.
So what does this mean
So
then?
if you're in China and you're thinking of getting married, do one for the team and boost the numbers.
But why do we need the numbers to go up?
Because it represents birth rates as well. So, traditionally the stepping stone is marriage, then babies. And they're encouraging people, the failure, I guess, of people tying the knot means that people are having less babies as well. And we've seen that play out in China.
I'm just still not convinced that this is a bad thing. I think this is a good thing. I think the planet needs way less people.
We just did a whole podcast on it. Yet to be released.
There's an expert from Tempo that we're doing anyway, it's coming out in a few weeks' time where we look at big trends that are happening in the world. And actually it was so fascinating, wasn't it?
The financial impact of having less young people in the world is really, really bad. So, yeah, if you've got a higher weighting to older people, that means that
taxes are higher for younger people.
Because they have to fund them because they're not working. So
yeah, and we go into detail and that, so that'll come out soon. But so essentially China having less marriages is just another stat that says the population's not growing, the economy this, blah, blah, blah.
And last year saw the second lowest number of births ever since the People's Republic of China was founded.
Again, you're not going to get me on the bandwagon for that.
I know.
But interesting, like super
that economy is shrinking, and that feeds into a lot of other economies around the world. So if that economy is shrinking, that means there's less tourism for our country, for example. That has reverberations to less spending in restaurants and in regions and all of that, which means less economic growth for us. And so that's just one country, let alone Australia, let alone the US, so.
I'm just thinking of the trees is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but a tree's not going to be able to
I mean the environment and the environmental impacts of less people on the planet, less waste, less usage of natural resources, like all of those things are.
I also think though, when economies have money and funding and are growing, they can put that into technology and resources.
Yes, but only when politicians are focused on that,
100%,
which is not what we're seeing. So vote for the right politicians. Yeah.
Yes. So everyone, make sure
you have sex. Is that where you're going with it?
In China or elsewhere in the world, have sex because it's Valentine's week and love is in the air, and it needs to be for economic growth. So go procreate, everyone.
Wow, that's romantic.
Yeah.
Oh, the economy needs a baby?
Yeah.
I'll go have one.
Just be like, hey, baby. So we need economic growth.
Stop it. Yuck. When you said you're projectile vomiting the other morning, I did
I know. I knew exactly. God, even our CFO was like, there could be one of three things.
You have a stomach
stress, pregnancy, or tummy bug. And I think it's hopefully not number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know that was really weird. I think the night before I had cake for dinner.
Yuck.
Cake, ice cream and chips. Like honestly, it just goes back to Little Vic days.
Little Vic.
Little Vic just ate
God,
too much.
That's what happened. You just ate lollies and vomited.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah. You think I would have learned and
too much cake.
By the time I'm 36, but
no.
Here
we are.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to The Curve Weekly. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all the money, biz and stock market news. And if you like what you heard, we would love a review. Thank you.
Yes, we would love a review. But if you did hate it, please, don't leave one if you hated it. No, but in all seriousness, could you please leave a review? Because it really helps other people find our cute little podcast.
And we hope you have a good week and see you next Monday.
Bye.
Bye. Sweet. Yeah. See you next Tuesday. Lol. See you next Tuesday. I mean Monday.
No, actually though, new episodes out every Tuesday. Okay, quickly. The Curve was created to empower and educate you about investing, but we are not financial advisors.
Our platform exists for educational purposes only, and it doesn't provide personalized investing advice for your individual needs and should not be relied upon to make an investment or financial decision.
And always remember to do your own research before making any investment or financial decision.
We're here for any knowledge and support you need, but the final call is always yours.
And thanks for being here.
You got this.
Yeah, we know you got this.